Hello, Cooper Clever 1972 here, back with another 31 days of Halloween video, otherwise known as Brian. So yesterday, um, what happened? Oh, was it yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday. I was on Facebook and I was on a watch party, which I never did before. So as I said in the previous video, which is just a brief video of yesterday telling why I wasn't on, I watched Stranger Than Paradise. I think it was the third time I've seen it. I hadn't seen it in a while, but they were showing it on a watch party on Facebook and one of the film groups I'm part of. So I was leaving comments in there. And then no, wait a minute, maybe I'm wrong, because I'm thinking, because then after that, I watched, on a watch party as well. Not the whole thing, Night of the Living Dead. But you know what? I think that was a day before yesterday. I can't remember what that film was that I watched, or the film I watched previous to this one. Hostel, was it? Or was it something else? I think it was Hostel. Maybe I didn't watch anything yesterday. I honestly can't remember. I know I didn't watch a horror film yesterday. I know that. Yeah, I couldn't have watched Night of the Living Dead, part of it, and Stranger Than Paradise. That was Friday. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Today's Saturday. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe I did watch them yesterday. I can't remember. Anyways, this is to make up for yesterday because I didn't watch a whole horror movie. Maybe I'd have to backtrack and look at my videos on YouTube. You know, each time I put a video up on YouTube, after it's up on YouTube, I delete it off the hard drive of my computer because I'd run out of space otherwise. I've got a ton of videos on YouTube, and I just run out of space. Oh, excuse me for a minute. Back. My nose was running. I didn't want you to see me wipe my nose. So I watched this film, Eyes Without a Face, by Georges Franju. It's a French movie. And I said, oh, The Innocents. That's the film I watched. The Innocents, I think, was the last film I watched. That I watched on Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, it must have been Thursday. Yeah, I don't know what I did yesterday. I bought some Chinese food at the Chinese restaurant. I'm totally blanking. I can't believe it. But anyway, so I watched this, which is technically yesterday's film. And then after this, I think I know the film I'm going to watch after this, probably The Phantom Carriage, which I think is like 80 minutes. It's a Victor Seastrom film. It's a silent movie. So it shouldn't take too long to watch that. So this film, among other things, the score was done by Maurice Jarre. And of course, he did one of the scores for one of my favorite films of all time, which is Lawrence of Arabia. He also did the score for Dr. Zhivago, which is another memorable movie score, and one of my favorite movies too. And Bridge on the River Kwai is not too bad. I think, did he do Bridge on the River Kwai, or am I mistaken? I think he did that. Yeah, but he's done some other movies too besides David Lean movies. I wish I could remember what they were. But I know he's had quite a career, Maurice Jarre. Anyways, this is about a woman who lost her face. Her face got severely damaged. And I think it's her father, who's the surgeon, who's trying to find a woman, take her without her permission, abduct her, take her, cut her face off and put it on his daughter. I think it's his daughter's face, because he's a surgeon, and like at the start of the film, his assistant, she throws the body. Maybe it's a Seine. I don't know. It's a river of some sort in France. Must be somewhere near Paris or in Paris. But anyways, they come across the police come across that body, and they're wondering. They notice that the face is gone, and they fake. Yeah, it's his daughter. Yeah, because they have the funeral at the start of the movie, not the very start, but close to the very start. And so they have the funeral, and they take the body. This is complicated. I think the police find the body. Oh yeah, and they ask the surgeon. They say, "Is this your daughter?" And he says, "Yes," but in fact, it's really this other man's daughter, and the other man's daughter is looking for his daughter, not knowing that the body that the surgeon said it was his daughter was actually that guy's daughter. So um, so the surgeon buries the other guy's daughter in his daughter's cemetery plot, not knowing not the police and nobody else knowing that in fact what he did was he hid the identity of his, hid the fact that his daughter was still alive, but with a grotesque face. And he takes that woman's face and he tries to put it on his daughter's face, and it doesn't work. And then he gets a second victim, and again, if I don't know I don't know a lot about medical issues, but you hear about like people when they get face transplants or arm transplants that the body sort of tries to reject the body tissue of another person, and I guess they have people take drugs so that the body can not resist the different organs, the different body parts of somebody else. And they've done some transplants. I guess they're becoming successful these days. Like I think a vet lost an arm or something, and they put another arm on him from another person, and he's managed to use it and managed to move his arm, move his fingers and hands and arm, thumb and arm, and they've done and incidentally, they have done a face transplant recently. I think it was a success. I think I've seen a little footage of the man who had the face transplant, but the thing about it is he doesn't look quite right, if you know what I mean. It doesn't look quite like a regular human face. It looks a little weird. So, but anyways, and the surgeon also holds these dogs captive. They're not guard dogs; they're just regular dogs. And I guess he uses them for experimentation, so he can find out how to manage to find a way to replace his daughter's face by experimenting on them. There's not too much of that with the dogs. There's just a little tiny bit, and it's hard. It's not really. There's just like one scene basically with a dog on a operating table, and you don't really see hardly anything. Just a little piece of fur, and that's about it. But the dogs are integral to the end. His daughter's fiance starts suspecting something's up because his fiance, the doctor's daughter, has been giving him phone calls, but not speaking on the phone. Then finally, like the third call in, she tells her fiance, it's me, but she doesn't say where she is or anything. But he suspects something's up, and he clues the police in on it, and the police come in and try and investigate it. So, anyways, they're they're having this history of these women missing, and things are getting suspicious. So um, I guess I think I should leave it at that, because the rest, if I say any more about the film, then it's going to spoil the film. So if you like that premise, I think you'll like this film. Um, and the mask on the woman, the daughter, it looks kind of intriguing, kind of. Um, well, maybe it looks realistic enough at the time period. It's 1959 when this film came out. Maybe it doesn't look. It's not going to look like a 21st century interpretation. Like if they use computers or prosthetics, they might have did it a little bit. Well, of course they would have did it differently, because it's many decades later. But it's not a bad effort for that time period. It's um, the screenwriters, I think, for this, I just briefly glanced at like some of the text on the menus, and the screenwriters, I think Pierre Bellou, or whatever his name is, he was one of the novelists for Vertigo, or he was the novelist for Vertigo, or I don't know if there are two guys that wrote the novel. It wasn't called Vertigo. It's called something like Beyond the Dead, but him and another guy, they wrote the book Vertigo is based on. Vertigo is my favorite Hitchcock film, because it has ambiguity in it that the other Hitchcock films don't. Not that I don't like other Hitchcock films. Don't get me wrong. It's it's a departure for Hitchcock's films, because Hitchcock films have well, they can maybe they have an ambiguity to a certain degree, but they're more concrete. They have a more solid plot. Things are more clearly defined. But with Vertigo, it's a little more left to your imagination. It's a little more um, abstract. Just a little more obscure. Is obscure the right word? I don't know. So anyways, I'm going to give this film, Eyes Without a Face, I'm going to give it, out of 5 stars, I'll give it, I'll give it 4 out of 5. Excellent film. Although I think, maybe it's not maybe it's not a favorite of mine. I think I expected a little bit more from this than I got. So, but there is a film that is sort of similar to this, and it made me think about it while I was watching it. Again, here's it's a box set. It's another Criterion set. This is a Japanese film box set, and the other day when I was doing my daily video of Halloween movies, I showed what's the film I showed with Deborah Carr, The Innocents, and I said it reminded me of this film Koroneko, which I think I like better than The Innocents. And I told Mike Gray 1951, I really like this movie a lot. It's the starting of all these. This is the introduction photo to each of my Halloween videos. But anyways, so Eyes Without a Face reminded me of another film, and it's in this box set here by a film director named Hiroshi Teshigahara. It's also Japanese, and it's called The Face of Another. If I can just get these DVDs out of here. So this is a really nice box set. You might be able to purchase these individually. I'm not sure about that. It comes with a nice. I know. I've shown this in my entire DVD and Blu-ray collection videos. So I'll just briefly show this to you here. Besides The Face of Another, these other movies are nice to own as well. Probably the most well-known of these is what is it called? Woman in the Dunes, which I think is regarded as one of the most famous Japanese films ever made. One of the really avant-garde Japanese films. Um, it has Pitfall, which I guess they're all sort of horror movies in a sense, but not horror movies in the sense of like, body parts or um, gore or they're not slashers, they're not anything like that. The more um, what's that word I'm looking for? Um, more more grotesque, or more um, absurd, for lack of a better word. Yeah, here's Woman in the Dunes, which is about it's an entomologist. Yes, an entomologist, a scientist who studies bugs, and he's studying these bugs. He doesn't get the bus back to maybe he's going to Tokyo. I don't know, and he has to stay somewhere over the night, and he finds this place to stay in this pit with this woman who lives inside this pit in this house, and he can't get out of the house the next day. So this is really a horror film too, but it's very artistic. It's very avant-garde. It's regarded as a great movie. But anyways, the film that I watched tonight reminded me of this film called The Face of Another, which I think is better than Eyes Without a Face. This stars Tatsuya Nakadai, who played Lord Hidatora Ichimonji in Ran. And maybe his first, I don't know if it was his first role or if it was his first Kurosawa role, but he was in Yojimbo as the samurai with a gun. And then it comes with supplements. I guess that's Teshikahira there, maybe with Tatsuya Nakadai. And it has some of his shorts on this one as well. Okay, so yeah, and The Face of Another, this guy doesn't have a face, and he has a hard time dealing with life because of it, So, okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to try and launch the Phantom Carriage tonight. That'll be a separate video, and then I don't know what I'll watch tomorrow. Maybe I'll watch Day of the Dead. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll watch something. There's some movies on Movie I've got to watch. Well, I don't have to, but they're going to expire. One of them's going to expire tomorrow, which is a film by Shohei Imamura, who made an excellent Japanese film called Vengeance is Mine, which came out in, I think, the late 70s, early 80s. That's not a horror movie or anything. And this I can't remember the name of this Shohei Imamura film that's expires tomorrow night, but it's 79 or 80, I think. And then there's a few films on Movie that are expiring on Tuesday and Wednesday this coming week. One of them being another Japanese movie, which came out maybe in the 60s. And another film which might be more recent. I don't remember what country, what director, or anything it came from. So I guess I got a lot of film watching to do. So anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Be sure to watch my GarageBand videos. Take a look at my blog. I'll put it right here. And I'm going to try and load up that other video, Phantom Carriage, tonight as well. So, and it's already 12:07 in the morning, Sunday, the 14th. So, anyways, I'm trying to get back on track, but it's time consuming, but I like doing this. So, anyways, see you soon. I hope you're enjoying this. Thanks a lot. Watch some scary movies.